fields. So it is a really, really, really booming time. And I'm coming a little bit to Mars, because 2021 is really the year of Mars. Not only do we have very interesting missions which are active there are 3 missions which have just arrived at Mars in February. There's Tianwen-1 from China, which consists of an orbiter lander. And as I will show you in a minute, we have the rover Zhurong, which was flawlessly landed on the surface of Mars, which is not easy. As you know, only the United States have really been successful of landing for the 5th time on Mars. So this is the first successful mission, and on the first go, China actually managed. And there is the United Arab Emirates Mars Orbiter HOPE, which is already measuring and providing data of the Martian atmosphere, including looking at the weather and the climate. And there is Perseverance rover from the Mars 2020 mission of NASA, which has landed in February at the Jezero crater. And it explores habitability. And you have certainly all looked at the recent data that it collected, the first sample. It will collect samples in canisters, which will hopefully brought back to Earth for analysis by the Mars Sample Return mission. And there are some of the pictures of this really amazing mission. It's you see here the first and second science mission in the Jezero crater, the planned map where the rover is going to go. And you see also the first sample collection. As you know, there was just a solar conjunction. So there was a 10 days of data, no data transmission, but everything is starting again. And there was, before that period, there was the first sample collected from the Jezero crater into a canister. And there will be nearly 40 of those canisters, which will be filled for a future Mars Sample Return mission. And there is this really, really amazing drone, the first really drone on another planet, which is Ingenuity. And nobody really knows how that drone would actually really work on Mars. And as you have all read and seen, it has been extremely successful. It's a new technology. It was a demonstration mission because this drone is going to fly in front of the rover to scout places for the future. And I'm sure it will be looked at for many future missions. And it worked really perfectly. It's a very, very lightweight helicopter drone of just less than 2 kilograms. And, the atmosphere is completely different. So it is very difficult to conceive such a technology. And it was really, really very successful. And the Zhurong rover on Mars, you see here the trajectory. It had actually by now more than 90 Martian days of service. And it landed actually in the region where the Viking mission was set in the past. It has a laser tool actually in order to explore the rock chemistry, and also a subsurface radar in order to look at subsurface water. So it was a really very successful mission, and happened at the first time successfully for China, for CNSA. And that is also really an achievement. And I'm sure that we will see data coming up soon from all those instruments. And the future, this is really all the start, of an international mission of Mars Sample Return. So many of you will not know that, but me being an older semester, there were decades of planning for Mars Sample Return, and it actually never happened. And it is very likely happening right now. There are really very concrete plans of NASA in cooperation with ESA to start this Mars Sample Return mission. And actually the starting point is, in order to collect the samples with the Perseverance rover right now on Mars, and then sending a fetch rover, shooting a capsule into space, which is captured by by an Earth return observatory, and then deployed with a capsule back to Earth, probably in the early 30s. So this is currently under study, and this is a mission which is already there since decades. And if it really happens right now, I think we could be really, really fortunate. So exciting times. And one has really to say that, of course, there's a lot going on, and I'm sure you will be discussing that, you know, in particular lunar surface exploration, and we will have the start of the Artemis program this year. We have really exciting missions to asteroids. JAXA just brought back samples from asteroid Ryugu with the Hayabusa 2 mission. NASA with OSIRIS-REx has just collected samples from the asteroid Bennu. We'll return those samples in 2023. There are many, many exciting missions planned for the outer solar system, also to look at some of the moons of the planets in the outer solar system, which have oceans in their interior and which might be habitable. We see organic molecules in this environment. We want to know more. Exoplanet discovery. We have nearly 5,000 objects which have been identified to be exoplanets right now. And so we are looking for a second Earth. And obviously also there is a transition phase in a low Earth orbit. The space station, International Space Station, being very successful over decades, will come to an end probably in 10 years from now. And there will be smaller space stations. And we see also the space station, which I'll come back in a minute, of China, which is being built up. So all in all, it's there are a lot of moon missions planned, of course, in the very near future. Looking at the surface, there are a lot of commercial actors, there are a lot of emerging countries. So it's a really, really vibrant time. And obviously you have witnessed all that, this age of space tourism, which have started rather abruptly and with so many missions that it is hardly possible to keep up with all of them, from Virgin Galactic being the first to Blue Origin and SpaceX. And I think this is a really very exciting time for the future, because the more of those missions will be successful, the easier it will be for everybody, you know, in order to go to space or to have a space experience. And just now in the last days, quite important actions, you know, on the Tiangong China space station. The construction will take a few years, but it's going very, very swiftly. As you know, the first module was launched in spring 2021. There have been 3 crew astronauts for 3 months on board. They just came back, and there's been a launch of Chenzhou 13 with 3 crew astronauts and a female astronaut, to say, which will be stay 6 months until they've just been launched. And there will be additional modules and science investigations which will be added in the next year. So also something which is going very, very swiftly and is really interesting. So I just want to come back at the end to the International Astronautical Federation. 1951, that's an important year. It was founded, that's exactly 70 years ago. And the IAF is right now really the world's leading space advocacy body. I am since 2 years the first female president since 70 years, and I really love it. And it was quite difficult during the pandemic to bring all the people together, to keep all the people together. But we tried a lot of course, online workshops, global network forums. We made a cyberspace edition last year where we could not meet in person in order to keep the community, space community together. As we know, we have 407 members of 71 countries. And all the stakeholders belong to it, being R&D organizations, space agencies, the space industry, universities, and associations. And we are really here to advance knowledge and to foster the dialogue worldwide, and to support, of course, also the future space workforce. And we are in particular really interested in initiatives which also address you, the younger generation. My predecessor, Jean-Yves Legal, created at that time the 3G initiative, which stands for geography, generation, and gender. And we have a particular diversity day, which will be next year, the Wednesday, where we really have a lot of exchange and luncheons and breakfasts in order dedicated to this topic of diversity and equality within the IAF, but also within the entire space sector, and having a lot of activities. That's a very, very important topic, and really also to foster the young professionals. We are so happy because since several years, we have so many young professionals participating at the IAC. And I can tell you, when I was a little younger, this was definitely not the case. And so we have now, I think, nearly 50% of the participants are below 35, and it makes everything so vibrant, and it makes everything so important, because also this exchange of generations, you know, is really, really important at this conference, that the knowledge transfer, and also, you know, going in the future together with lessons learned. And we have some of really important initiatives. We always create new initiatives according to what's actually happening in the world. And we have actually started an IAF Space Traffic Management Committee, which we did together with the International Academy of Astronautics and also the International Institute of Space Law, in order to develop recommendations for behavior and proposals for governments. And this is really something which is a main topic. We need international agreements. Before that, we need national agreements. But space debris and space traffic management is the topic which is extremely crucial. We have actually launched an initiative which is called Launchpad, where we help you know, to launch careers in aerospace of aerospace professionals, where we have a one-to-one mentorship. And maybe some of you have already worked in this program. It's the first year we had this program. We have now more or less a review this week, where you have really an individual treatment, you know, for 8-9 months in order to work with mentors to foster your career. And we have also created the platform, the Space Economic Platform, in order to you know, to work with the new space sector and integrating new companies and also non-space sector companies in order to be a part of this really vibrant new space development. So we have we have always, the International Astronautical Federation, we have always to adapt to the future, and in particular to work with the young professionals in order to stay on the ball, because the space sector is changing extremely rapidly. I just want to, at the end, to show you the save the date. On Friday, the 10th of December, we will celebrate the 70th anniversary of the IAF in Paris. And I hope that some of you will, thanks. I hope that some of you will be able to join. And my last slide just says that I just a few weeks in the job. I'm also the president now of the International Space University, a school founded in 1987, 30 years of history of international, intercultural, and interdisciplinary program. We have 5,200 alumni from 110 countries, so a big network worldwide. And I think it's really important to say that we will also overhaul the entire programs for the new space sector. And I'm too short in the job to tell you everything what's going to happen, but we know that we have really to go and we need to help to educate the space workforce of tomorrow. And there will be a lot to do, and ISU will really be at the service of all space stakeholders and here for the young professionals. And I thank you very much. I hope you have a lot of joy in this meeting, that you will also be able to attend some of the networking receptions and meet people. As I said, when I look at Christian, but we have nearly 4,000 registrations. So we are coming back. The space sector has been very robust, and obviously the space sector needs you as young professionals. And thank you very much for listening.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that keynote. We'd love to open it up to questions once again. So we have Christina here from the team flying around the mic. So if you have a question, please give her a wave. And we will also be taking your questions online delegates through Annie, who's doing an fantastic job. So thank you. Hi, thank you so much for talking about it. I had a question about the PDUs in reference to gender. I realize I work on adults here and already past high school. Is there an initiative to actually compete for kids, even age like so 5 to 6 to like 17, and tell them whatever you're following outside of school or outside of this community, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. You don't have to be stuck with whatever you're surrounded with. The reason why I ask is it's harder to change somebody's mind when they're older, even if somebody was 20 or 21 years old, versus telling a 6-year-old, I know, if you want to be an astronaut, you need to be an astronaut. Don't let others tell you otherwise.
Yes, I totally agree. I have worked, of course, my entire life, and in all the organizations I've been working with, on this gender equality issue and you know, inspiring the young generation. And it is so that everybody understands that we actually have to start in the kindergarten. Yeah, because there some of the stereotypes are already imprinted, and you have to start very early. You have to start in the schools. I was 5 years ahead of DLR, where we had certain school labs where we really, even with particular days, where we also formed the teachers, you know, in order to teach them this inspiration so that they can actually give it. And we have, these school labs are booked out for a year. So I think there are a lot of organizations which are trying. Also, we will look into some of those activities at the IAF, and we are looking at teachers. This is something which is, it needs actually a flawless line, you know, from the kindergarten over the school, so that actually the young professionals actually study STEM subjects. Because if they do not study STEM subjects, we have the big crisis and lack of STEM graduates after. So this is completely right. We have to start, and we are actually working together with a lot of organizations in order to bring this kind of pipeline together. But it is really due to governments, I have to say, in every country, to actually really to secure this line, that there are not individual activities, but that there is actually, you know, something which starts very early, because we have an incredibly lack of STEM employees everywhere in the world. And there are estimates that I think in 2040, 2045, most of them, of the STEM graduates will come from China. These are statistics, and we, I think, worldwide have really to encourage people from very young age. You're completely to the point. So I'm not going to always answer so long, but it's a topic I've had to work on a lot.
Any other questions?
Hi.
Hi. You again.
You have been supportive of SGC really for a long time. I remember I met you at the very beginning of my career. Really been a role model for me, and one of those women who really made a great in the space sector. Can you maybe give some advice to other women? I know the times are different now than it used to be, but I'm sure you have seen the changes, and if there's any advice you could give to women, it would be great.
Yes, that's a question I get rather often. And I think I was really, born in a very, very different time. I have 2 children, and Aneska will love that. I have a daughter which was not interested in space, and she started to study environment, geography, then she moved into artificial intelligence, and now she works in an Earth observation company for with machine learning, looking for deforestation. Yeah, so this is how it goes in life. Yeah, so I have 2 children, and it was not easy at my time because there was no life-work balance, and there were really, really very harsh conditions. But today, every employer, and I know that from the German Aerospace Center, is really here in order to make a work-life balance, and that includes men, also having men take part of the charge, when you are creating a family, and trying to provide an environment where women can really thrive. It's very dependent on what kind of job you are, but I think today the most important thing is to keep the self-confidence of women, and that you know you can do it, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Yeah, women are strong. Women can handle many more things at the same time, like a dentist appointment and insurance and this and your scientific paper which you have to write. So you are really strong, and I think this self-confidence is important, that you also are able to do leadership position. Sometimes, for instance, being share it between 2 women. That is something which happens in company a lot now. But really, do not believe that a family impedes your success, and even in a leadership role in the space sector. Just go for it. This is something which is really, really important. And in generally, I think every employer has really to look for this kind of work balance, and make it happen, that we have a diverse and inclusive space sector, because studies show that you have much better results and profits and revenues for companies where inclusiveness and diversity is actually accepted, and is actually installed into the advisor reports and everything. So this is very well known, and I think most of the modern companies are taking care of that. And I think this is a very important topic. And when I just look at the IAF secretariat, I think Christian is quite a minority. I'm sorry to say, he's the executive director, but there are really 10 very strong women helping him in the secretariat. So I think this is something which is important for the space sector, and we will go and make progress every day.
Okay, I think we have one online and one at the back. Thank you, Pascale. We have a question for you from one of our online delegates, who says that for someone who is attending IS for the first time, do you have any advice on networking and making a good impression?
Making a good impression?
When meeting people,
okay,
how do you present yourself? How do you network?
Yeah. Well, I think there are specific networking sessions. I will probably also, maybe you give a microphone to Christian. Also, he will tell you probably when they are. So there are special networking events which we have. We have a diversity day on Wednesday. So I think don't be shy. Just when you see, look at the badge and the person, just introduce yourself and say, I'm working here and here. Can you give me advice, or would you have time to talk to me 5 minutes? Just be bold, because all the IAF members know how important it is in order to foster the careers of the next generation, in particular in this vibrant space sector. And I think it is, everybody will be at your service. I think all the IAF members know and will help. And there are very dedicated events, and maybe I will give the word to Christian for 1 second, because he knows all the times and dates.
Thank you, Pascale. Well, indeed, for young people, we have a lot of events to offer. It starts on Sunday, actually, with the YP event, the YP reception. Monday, of course, on the opening day, we have welcome reception for everybody. Tuesday, there is another young professional event in the evening with a reception, and the same is also true on Wednesday evening. So it's 3 events for young professionals. We also have on Tuesday morning an industry breakfast, which is open to all delegates, and on Wednesday a diversity breakfast, which is also open to all delegates. So this is just a few events which you should not miss if you want to really network. Besides, of course, all the other great GNS and panelists, which definitely give the opportunity to also meet prominent people. And they are all, as you said, they are all very happy to meet young people.
I think we have one quick question, very quick, at the back, please.
Hello. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. My name is Andrew. I'm from the United States, and my question is about the Space Traffic Management Initiative on one of your slides. I think that's really, really important because one of the things about all the topics we've seen so far, and something that I'm sure is going to continue, is that space is so important for life on Earth, and so it's ensured that resources are protected and managed responsibly. So I was curious if you could talk a little bit about the scope of that committee, if it's, it's clearly global, but is it engaging actors, governments, experts in the field, things like that, and if there are any results or anything on this year's IAC. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. This is really a very important topic. The committee was just created, so it is really starting, and we work together with our somehow sister or associated organizations, because of course the International Institute of Space Law has a lot of expertise and experience how to draft agreements and possible regulations. So I think the main goal of this committee is in order to bring together all the individual activities which have been, covered all over the globe. We know that the United States have already formulated an initiative. We know that several of countries have national laws in this direction. But what it means is we have to go towards an international framework for this topic. And that is not easy because first you have really to have national guidelines before you are able to make an international agreement. There are already organizations in place like the IADC, there is the United Nations, UN COPUOS, which is working on this topic. So the committee really tries, to bring all these initiatives and to move forward. And I have to say that this new STM committee will also work closely with other committees of the IAF, because it's not only the regulations which will bring us further, it's the technology which will help us in the future also to have solutions. We have to develop new technologies for on-orbit servicing, retrieval, all the missions which are happening now, to have guidelines and technologies which descend, satellites, into the atmosphere at a given time scale. So there's a lot of technology which has to be developed. And so it is not the work of one committee, but I think the new thing of this committee, working together with the IAA and the IISL, having so much expertise, is in order to synergize many of the initiatives to make a step forward to actually really draft proposals for governments in order to move forward on this subject. That was really the initiative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you join me in giving another thank you to Pascale for that? Yes. Very important.
Acting Deputy Associate Administrator for Systems Engineering and Integration,